You're watching E.T.N. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video we're going to do our review for Star Wars The Force Awakens. Yes, The Force Awakens. It has awoken on Friday, or actually last Thursday for all theaters across the country, and I got to see it. As many as you have seen it already. This is going to be a spoiler-filled review. By this time, I think everybody's seen it already. People were waiting for a long time for this, so I'm not afraid to just do a straight-out spoiler review. If you haven't seen the movie, then yes, you don't want to be here right now. You want to just wait until you see it, maybe come back and see what I have to say, and then share your opinion in the comments below. But here's the deal: this was just a fun movie. It was a fantastic movie. I had a lot of fun. I've been a Star Wars fan since I can remember, which is 5 years old. The movie came out the year I was born. So, I mean, it's been such a long time since we got a Star Wars movie that delivered the way this one did. You know, the prequels, very controversial. So obviously, Revenge of the Sith being one of the favorites out of that prequel trilogy. And The Phantom Menace was a disappointment when it came out. I'm not going to kill the prequels. I enjoyed them for what they were. They were part of the lore. But this movie, The Force Awakens, delivered on so much more. And to be fair to the prequels, I think that's because it had the luxury of following the original trilogy as opposed to coming before it, where the prequels would have to make some necessary changes to draw into the original trilogy. Force Awakens and the movies that are scheduled to follow have the luxury of following it. But this movie, I think J.J. Abrams, you saw his passion in this movie. It's a lot of fun. We see a lot of things have happened in the last 30 years with our core group. You know, Han Solo, Leia, Luke, things like that. A lot has happened, and this movie leaves a lot of questions. I'm hoping they get to answer all of them within the next two movies, because there is a lot of questions. I mean, tons. We learn about Han and Leia having a child that apparently was trained by Luke at some point and then turned to the dark side, following in his grandfather's footsteps. Not quite where he wants to be with his Sith powers, and you could see that evidently in this movie as the movie progressed, and you see his temper tantrums, still very young, still very immature, but is powerful nonetheless. And then we have our core original members. We have Han and Leia. Han obviously was front and center in this movie in terms of the original cast. We got to see Leia to a lesser degree, and then of course we all know when we got to see Luke. But in terms of the new characters, Rey, Finn, and Poe, I gotta say, they were very good. They were a lot of fun. They definitely can carry this series on their own. I truly believe that. I think John Boyega was fantastic. I think Daisy Ridley was great. Oscar Isaac he's just a good actor all around, and he was great in this movie. I think they did a fantastic job getting young cast members supported by the veteran crew, and it just made for a very, very good character-driven movie. In terms of the story, this is where I'm kind of 6 to 1, half a dozen to the other, because on one hand, it was great. It was great. It definitely left your mouth watering for more, which is a good thing. If I got to criticize it, I would say a little bit heavy on A New Hope. This is basically A New Hope with new characters, but a lot of the same events happen in different ways. On one hand, I understand why they did that. This is the first movie since the prequels, which were a disappointment. And if you want to relaunch this brand, you want to tap into people and remind them why they love Star Wars. And tapping into A New Hope and following that formula, that's the way to do it. On the flip side of that, considering how talented J.J. Abrams is, and considering what he's done before, the kind of work he's done, it's a little disappointing to know that his first time out with this movie, he wasn't as creative as he can be. I think he could have done more. Maybe he was a little shy after what happened with Star Trek. But overall, it doesn't detract from the overall feeling of this movie, where it's just a lot of fun. There's some emotional moments that really hit you home. And I really think that the actors really carried this movie. Daisy Ridley was really, really impressive. I was thoroughly impressed with her. And I'm very excited to see that we're going to have a female Jedi that's front and center. We've had female Jedis before. A lot of people wanted to see Leia maybe go down that road at some point, and we never got to see that, at least in the movies. I'm not sure about the books, but we know that the books are not part of canon. So it's nice to see that they're going to have a front and center female Jedi, and I'm excited to see where that's going to go. With that said, I have to say, I don't know how I feel right now about the fact that she's able to tap into her powers so soon. Considering she hasn't gotten training, considering her age, I'm wondering if that's something they're going to explain, and I think they have to. It was cool when it happened. I think they used it at the right moments, which is why it can be forgiven, because who wasn't fired up when she called the lightsaber? Who wasn't fired up when she used the Jedi mind trick? But on the flip side of that, it's like, really? I mean, we got powerful Jedis like Obi-Wan and, Luke, who had to receive training to do some of these things. She just suddenly comes out of the blue because someone gives her an inkling that she has the Force power. Suddenly she tries to use it. So that's something that I'm a little up in the air about, I just hope they have a really good reason. I don't want it to be that she just happens to be another Skywalker. And in fact, I hope she's not. I hope she's just her own person that has no link to Skywalker or anybody else. I want her to be her own person. Maybe they explain it that she just is so powerful with the Force. Maybe she's one of those rare Force, one of those rare people that's kind of like Yoda, just really strong with the Force. This has a natural tap into it. Because the only person I would ever believe that could do what she did would have been Yoda back in his heyday before he started training as a Jedi. But we don't know too much about it, as far as I can remember from the movies. I mean, but Yoda's the one person I would believe would be capable of doing that before receiving proper training. And is it possible that we could come up with another Jedi like that? Yeah, I mean, she could be that one person. We know Anakin was very powerful with the Force as well. Remember in the prequel movies, his midichlorian count was up there with Yoda's midichlorians. But again, even he needed training. We saw that he had the talent, with his speed and his reflexes, as Qui-Gon alluded to, but he wasn't using the Jedi mind trick. He also wasn't calling lightsabers. Again, could have been the age difference. Maybe it's because Rey is older. Maybe she just has a little bit better understanding. It's hard to explain. We won't know until the sequels. A couple of things I did find weird. First of all, we know that in Jedi, the Resistance won. Okay, they won. They beat the Empire. Blah blah blah. Now, again, this could be another question that might be answered later, but right now I have to address it until we find out. Here we are 30, 40 years later, whatever, and they're called the Resistance again, and they have a smaller army than the Order. I mean, from my understanding, I thought the Order was up and coming. If anything, I thought the Republic would be in control. I thought General Leia Organa would be, front and center of a fairly massive army. When you consider they're the ones that have been kind of running the show in the galaxy for the past couple of decades. So, but in this movie, you didn't get that feeling. You got the feeling that the Order was kind of in control. They had the bigger army on screen, and we were calling the Resistance again. So I thought that was kind of weird. Another thing I wasn't too crazy about, the Star Killer was a fantastic, in terms of visuals and in terms of what it's capable of, was a fantastic homage to the Death Star. But again, now we've destroyed that. So what's the end game? Because we know in the other trilogy, the original trilogy, we know that it was Death Star destroyed, build another one, and then destroy another one. And then in the prequel trilogy, it was basically Palpatine twisting his way into power, and then eventually getting into the point where they want to build a Death Star, but we never saw any Death Star destroyed. So now, what's the end game now? Because they can't they can, but they shouldn't go the route of building another Star Killer, only for it to get destroyed in the 9th movie. So, and then on top of that, it's like, how many times are we going to do this? We've seen the Death Star or something like the Death Star, the Star Killer, so many times. How many times are we going to repeat this? So again, I think it's to try and tap into that nostalgia. People are very, very attached to their nostalgia, and I think they may have utilized that to make this movie a success and get everybody ready for the next chapter. But I can't see them going to the well again one more time, or two more times, three more times in this case, with a Death Star or Death Star type weapon. So we need to see something fresh from the Order / Empire. So the other thing I found weird is, you know, after Han Solo met his demise by his son, they return to the Resistance base. Rey and Chewie get off the Falcon, and Chewie walks right by Leia, which I found that to be so weird when you consider the amount of time these people have known each other, the relationship Leia and Han had, and the fact that earlier in the movie, Chewbacca embraced Leia because he missed her, but then he comes back after the death of Solo and just waltzes by her? That doesn't make any sense to me. I thought that was a big, big ball they dropped. I kind of find that unforgivable when you consider the time spent between these two characters. Maybe not the whole time, because we know that obviously Han and Leia were apart for a while, but when you consider what they went through during their fight for the freedom in the galaxy, and then the coming years with, you know, Han and Leia's relationship, having a kid, so on and so forth, I thought that was very, very odd that they missed that. They chose Rey to be the one to have an interaction with Leia. I understand she's going to be the new Jedi, the new Hope, and she's going to carry the franchise forward, but I think that's something you can't miss there. I thought that was a very, very disappointing error on their part, to not have a nice emotional scene with Leia and Chewie embracing each other for the loss of Han. I thought that was a disappointment. Other things, I thought Adam Driver was fantastic. You know, this character Snork, we know too little of him right now, so I can say that I didn't carry the way about his character in this movie. There wasn't enough of him. We don't know where he comes from, why he has to have this room where he looks like he's like 20 feet tall, you know. So and Captain Phasma she wasn't disappointing. I love Gwendolyn Christie, but I would have liked to have seen more of her. I'm pretty sure we will in the sequel, so I'm not too concerned about that. Overall, look, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was nice. I thought the nostalgia hits were good. I thought they were a little bit overdone at times. I definitely thought the movie was too much like A New Hope, but I understand why they did that. It didn't detract from how the movie made me feel when I left the theater, and it made me feel wonderful. I thought BB-8 was great. I thought they put in just enough C-3PO. We didn't get too much of him, but I'm fine with that. It was nice to see R2 come back at the end, and then of course the ending scene with Luke and Rey was just wonderful, and it really, really sets the tone as to what we can expect for the next installment of this series. And most of all, I gotta say this, I am so happy. I'm really happy we're gonna have a female Jedi front and center. I am really looking forward to that. That's gonna be very exciting, and it's gonna be very exciting to see just how strong Kylo Ren is going to be in the next movie after Snork said he needs to complete his training. So, but we're gonna talk more Star Wars, man. There's a lot of stuff that I want to discuss with this movie. I had to take a couple extra days to prepare my review because I really wanted to. I saw the movie again, and then I really wanted to try and come up with as unbiased as a review as possible. Overall, the movie is worth the price of admission. It is great. I love the Falcon. It was great seeing it in the sky again. It does have flaws. It did make errors in certain points of the movie that I don't think should have been done. Tapped into the nostalgia well a little too much. Again, I think there's a good reason for that, and I understand why they did it. Overall, JJ did a fantastic job. The cast was wonderful. They really, really sold everything. And look, if you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to love the movie. Bottom line, you're going to love the movie. And even if you're a general Star Wars fan that's not too crazy about Star Wars, I think you'll still have a lot of fun. This is just a visually stunning movie. The angles where they show the fights and the Falcon, angles we had never seen before, that just brought the movie to life in a different way that Lucas did in the 70s, and not taking anything away from him. He obviously did a great job with conventional special effects at that time. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I was very, very happy, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they go. A couple of things they need to fix, a couple of things I think they need to avoid in the next installment, but overall I think they're heading in the right direction. Anyway guys, that's it for this review. This is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. Join the nation's Facebook page to meet other subscribers or visit E.T.N's Facebook page and Twitter page. Links for all are in the description.